Futurism was an artistic and social movement that originated in Italy in the early
I
20th
understand that,
century.
but that's
It emphasized
confusing to me.
speed,
How can we literally just
technology,
play when
youth,
we get
and
play?
violence, and objects such as the car, the airplane, and the
I got a
industrial
question.
city. Futurism began its transformation of Italian culture on February 20th, 1909. The Futurists practiced in every medium of art, including painting, sculpture, ceramics, graphic design, industrial design, interior design, urban design, theater, film, fashion, textiles, literature, music, architecture, and even futurist meals. Although it was a largely an Italian phenomenon, there were parallel movements in Russia, England, Belgium, and elsewhere. The group would issue more manifestos as the years passed, but this summed up their spirit, celebrating the machine age, the triumph of technology over nature and opposing earlier artistic traditions. Filippo Marinetti's ideas drew the support of famous artists which are in the Futurist movement: Umberto Boccioni, Giacomo Balla, Gino Severini, and Carlo Cara, who believed they could be translated into a modern figurative art which explored properties of space and movement. The Futurist movement, initially centered in the city of Milan, spread very quickly to the cities of Turin and Naples, and over some subsequent years Marinetti vigorously promoted it abroad, which was very helpful. Umberto Boccioni was one of the most prominent and influential artists and sculptors among the Italian Futurists. He was important in introducing the visual innovations. He helped shape the revolutionary aesthetic of the Futurism movement as one of its principal figures. Giacomo Balla was an Italian painter, art teacher, and poet, best known as a key proponent of Futurism. In his paintings he depicted light, movement, and speed. He was greatly influenced to paint by French Neo-Impressionism during the sojourn he made in Paris in 1900. Gino Severini was an Italian painter and a leading member of the Futurist movement. For much of his life, he divided his time between Paris and Rome. He was associated with Neoclassicism and the return to order in the decade after the First World War. Carlo Cara was an Italian painter and leading figure of the Futurist movement that flourished in Italy during the beginning of the 20th century. In addition to his paintings, he wrote a number of books concerning art. He taught for many years in the city of Milan. Natalia Gonçalves was a prominent figure in the Donkey's Tail group, who were important in spreading the influence of Cubo-Futurism in Russia. She was inspired to paint by Russian folk art, and she often incorporated traditional motifs into pictures styled in a cubist manner. Auguste Seurat was a French post-impressionist painter and draftsman. He is noted for his innovative use of drawing media and for devising the painting techniques. Seurat's artistic personality was compounded of qualities which are usually supposed to be opposed and incompatible. In 1910, Umberto Boccioni painted "The City Rises", which is often considered to be the first Futurist painting. Here, Boccioni illustrates the construction of a modern city. The chaos and movement in the piece resemble a war scene, as war was presented in the Futurist Manifesto. In 1912, Giacomo Balla painted "Dynamism of a Dog on a Leash". Balla was fascinated by chronophotography, a vintage technique whereby movement is demonstrated across several frames. The work shows a woman walking a small black dog. The movement collapsed into a single instant. In 1913, Natalia Gonçalves painted "The Cyclist", while Gonçalves was a leading figure in the pre-war Russian avant-garde, a painter, illustrator, set and costume designer, and writer. Here the cyclist's legs and feet have been multiplied, indicating the speed of an object in motion. Umberto Boccioni also painted unique forms of continuity in space in 1913. Frustrated by the constraints of the canvas, Boccioni found it more effective to explain Futurist principles of movement in a three-dimensional form. This painting captures the essence of a figure in motion, rendered in geometric form. Gino Severini painted sea dancing in 1914. Inspired by his voyage through coastal Anzio, Severini created this painting to draw a parallel between the sea and the human form. The figure is undistinguished from the water, becoming an inseparable component of the contiguous surroundings. Between 1953 and 1954, Carlo Pera painted Interventionist Manifesto. Here, inspired by Cubist experiments in the same vein, Carlo Pera introduces collage to the Futurist repertory technique. This piece blends Marinetti's Futurist Manifesto with innovative poetry. Lourdes Surratt painted "The Afternoon" on the island of Val Grande, Nevada, between 1884 and 1886. Surratt's Sunday Afternoon is perhaps the most famous example of the painting technique known as pointillism. Surratt composed the entire scene from a series of small, precise dots of color. Electric prisms painted in 1914 by Sonia Bellioni. Electric prisms uses a sphere to represent this idea of overlap. In the work, different spheres convene into large concentric circles that are arranged to depict dynamic movement of electricity. Streetlight is a painting by Giacomo Balla dated in 1909 depicting an electric street lamp casting a glow which outshines the crescent moon. The painting was inspired by streetlights at the Piazza Termini in Rome. The small crescent moon is an illustration of futurist ideas.